Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. Don't miss Draft Street's very special Christmas Day one-day draft league for fantasy where you can pay $11 and using the code B-Ball and you can be one of 1,000 people to win a huge pot of money. So get over there and check it out. I know I will. Now let's talk a little bit about the Clippers versus Timberwolves from last night because it's definitely a tale of two players between Blake Griffin and Kevin Love, who clearly wanted to make a statement about the All-Star game and whatnot. So when we go through this footage, you're going to see who really is the better player. You don't get 32 points in a game without some help from the defense, and here Kevin Martin needs to recognize he's on the weak side and bump down to cover the roller. He doesn't even get close on this nice bounce pass from CP3. The Clippers love to run a two-man game with Blake at the elbow and Chris Paul getting the handoff. I can't blame Blake for not even looking at the basket on this catch, as CP3 can get him a much better shot off the pick and roll. Blake did well from the post for the most part, but bringing the ball behind your head like this is simply not fundamental basketball. It's hard to understand how a player can make such a tough left-handed hook like this, then not step through on an up and under and miss a shot with bad footwork like this. Kevin Love destroyed him on the block, and he'd be wise to study how Love gets positioned down low with great footwork, then steps through with the left foot to get space to shoot this shot. And you really don't score 45 points in a game without some god-awful defense, and here's a good example of Blake completely losing Love on the perimeter, giving up a dunk. And Blake kept switching on down screens, forcing DeAndre Jordan to have to guard Love at the three-point line. Switching unnecessarily simply hurts your team profoundly. And Love has terrific footwork and shot fakes in the post, making him an almost impossible guard for any defense. While Crawford comes over to double, that is hardly what I would call maximum effort. And here's a crucial aspect to Love's game that completely separates him from Blake Griffin. Offensive rebounds. First off, DeAndre Jordan simply cannot let a guy who averages 4 offensive rebounds a game to roam free from the weak side. Comparing their offensive rebounding numbers, you can see a serious distinction. Last night, they each had 26 half-court possessions where an outside shot was taken by a teammate. While Blake Griffin went for 6, Kevin Love went after 16. This shows in their per game and percentage stats as well, and this is what makes Kevin Love a more valuable player on the court. Here's another example of Blake needlessly switching on defense, and this time it creates a mismatch on him, and Pekovic scores easily. First off, Blake allows a big no-no, the out-of-bounds pass to the low post directly. Then DeAndre Jordan does not get a body on Pekovic as he cuts, and the result is another easy shot for Peck. Let's move to the crucial part of the fourth where CP3 pushes and gets a mismatch. This is not a great decision by CP3 to jack a three-pointer, seeing as though he's shooting 32% from there this year and shot poorly from everywhere all night. He should have let Blake get out of the way, then gone to work getting a better shot. Just watch the lack of intensity Blake has on defense as he just lets Kevin Love go right where he wants to on the high post. Off the pinch post action, watch how he again backs up instead of putting a body on Love, allowing Love to catch the ball right where he wants to for an easy jump hook. CP3 is definitely the best point guard in the league, but even he gets caught with a bad turnover every now and then. More often than not, when he tries to initiate contact, he gets the call. He's right behind James Harden for this ability. But Pekovic does a great job with positioning, and CP3 awkwardly travels with the ball. The Clippers have gone away from icing the screen and roll for some reason, and the Wolves are very clever by forcing the hedge so they can get deep low post position for Love. Coach Rick Adelman couldn't hope for a better shot than this, but he just misses. Rather than start jacking up threes, Doc Rivers is smart by extending the game and going for a quick 2, using his 2 best players in a pick and roll. Corey Brewer's help defense is terrible, as he should already be in help position a step before Blake receives this pass. Remember, he's a subpar free throw shooter, so fouling him here is preferable to giving up a monster dunk. The Wolves need only run out the clock here, and remember how they run this out of bounds play because it comes up a bit later. Both Rubio and Martin sprint to the backcourt to run more time off the clock, which is great. While Doc Rivers was mad at the foul call, you can see the Blake Griffin bear hug certainly warranted a call, and both referees called it. Kevin Love missed a crucial free throw, and the Clippers again have enough time for a quick two. They don't run ice on this pick and roll, where Brewer could have forced Crawford to his left away from the screen, and Pekovic would have dropped down on the right side to contain. Remember, DeAndre Jordan is simply not a threat from anywhere outside of 3 feet. Now, Kevin Love is not supposed to help one pass away, but he could have at least jabbed his foot at Crawford or done something. This game should be over, and the Wolves need only inbound and make some free throws, but this time they don't send their best ball handler Rubio, who shoots 85% from the line, but he just stands there giving no release valve to Martin like he should. Martin isn't the best ball handler, and he shows it as he loses it and allows the Clippers to tie. But there is still plenty of time left, and even though they have no timeouts, DeAndre Jordan lets Pekovic run right to the right block and get terrific low post position, but Pekovic rushes the shot due to sphincteritis, and we're headed for overtime. It was unclear why Doc thought he could get away with playing Dudley at the power forward with both Love and Pekovic in, but they get away with it improbably when Pekovic misses the bunny on a great offensive play by the Wolves. But this lineup confused Pekovic and Love, who both run to guard DeAndre Jordan, and no one is there to help on this gorgeous CP3 drive. The Wolves again run a clever set where they first get DeAndre Jordan to switch on a cross screen, and then again on the pick and roll. The problem is Love and Pekovic are camped out on either side of the lane, and there wasn't anywhere for Barea to go. So he travels, gets away with it, then tosses up this ugly shot. One more time, the Wolves run a great double ball screen where Love pops for the 3 while Pekovic rolls to the hoop, and this gets Peck great low post position and a good finish for a 2-point lead. Down 2, here's where it pays to have Chris Paul on your team. Had the Wolves ran ice on the screen and roll, Kevin Love would not have been this high, allowing penetration and, more importantly, forcing his teammates to rotate. They do a great job taking away the 2 most dangerous passes, but Chris Paul finds the third option on a bullet right to Jared Dudley, who hits his first 3 of the game. The Wolves could have gone 2 for 1 here since they were down by 1, but curiously, they kind of wind the clock down, but then take a shot with over 10 seconds left on the shot clock. This is simply bad clock management. And what will surely be a court call play tomorrow, Chris Paul is fouled while in the act of shooting, yet isn't awarded 3 free throws. So stay tuned tomorrow to find out the exact interpretation of this rule. All is not lost for the Wolves yet, and here's another prime example why you do not let the ball go directly to the low post from an out-of-bounds play. With 15 seconds left, the Wolves could have at least tried to double team hard before fouling, but instead they take the foul right away. It turns out okay for them when CP3 misses the second free throw, and without a timeout, the Wolves again get a great position for Peck, who again rushes it and misses a little jump hook. Game over. So there you have it, sports fans. It's going to be really interesting to see how this All-Star Game voting plays out, because Kevin Love is clearly the much better player on offense, and then defensively we can see that Blake Griffin really isn't anything to brag about, and so neither is Kevin Love. So I think if you're going to call that a wash, then definitely Love is better, and especially on those offensive rebounding numbers I showed you, because you can't excuse that kind of effort. He should be crashing the boards a lot more than he is. Well, thanks for joining us. Don't forget about the special Christmas Day draft going on at Draft Street for fantasy NBA stuff. It's definitely the way to go. Check it out, and don't forget, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?